Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Exodus. And this is a new fantasy sci-fi kind of film that takes place in a dystopian future after the rapture. And this young man, played by Jimmy Stanton, who finds this VHS tape. And it proves the existence of a doorway, a pathway into the promised land, into paradise. And he goes on this exodus to go find this doorway and to escape to paradise. And this is from writer-director Logan, who co-wrote the film and directed it. And you're sitting here watching this film thinking about all of the ambition that went into this idea of the story. You think about the big ideas in general, and you think about the cinematography and the score and all these different kinds of pieces that have a lot of potential but don't really add up to much. And that's the tricky thing about this film, Exodus, is you have an hour and 15 minutes that feels like a bunch of string of scenes that, isolated, have really strong imagery and symbolism and cinematography, the way things are shot, how they're framed, and it's very evocative. It has scenes where it cuts to our character Connor, who is now in like this aspect ratio of being on like an old TV show, on this old VHS tape, and you have all these different kinds of things. The music is very powerful, except the fact that the sound mixing in this film is on the same level or worse than a Nolan film, where there's points where I legitimately could not understand the dialogue because the score was so loud. And it's just like, not great. So those kinds of things, there's potential, but then there's drawbacks. It's very visual, but there's no flow. You're just going from thing to thing without a whole lot of reason, and it is an exodus. It is like a vagabond kind of thing. In many ways, it reminds me of The Road, in terms of you're wandering to this place, trying to find this place, and the people that you come across along the way, and things are going to be dangerous, and you have different moments. There's definitely there's a scene running in the dark away from this truck with its headlights on. Felt very much right out of No Country for Old Men, where that scene at the shootout is at night when Llewellyn goes back and tries to bring that guy water and stuff like that. You feel some inspired moments in this film, but it never really comes together. The characters don't have a whole lot of depth, but you can see that whoever made this, so like Logan, you can tell, I don't know if these were conscious influences, but there's definitely Stalker and things like that that feel very influential on this particular film. And it's inspired in that way, but narratively and character-wise, doesn't add up to much. And I feel like, and if you look at IMDb, this has so many 1 out of 10s. People are like, this is a complete waste of time. I wouldn't say this is a waste of time. There's quite a few pieces here. And as a cinephile, and if you're somebody who's going in trying to watch a movie for just the enjoyment of watching a movie, yes, this might feel like a waste of time. But as somebody looking at it from a film perspective who loves film, there's definitely things to admire about it. And that's why, for me, I found enough to make me interested, but also frustrated because I wanted it to come together more. And it leads up. It has a particular start to finish, it does have that, but what fills it out in between can be a little jumbled, a little erratic, and lacking in reason sometimes. But in the end, I feel like Exodus has a lot of potential, and I would like to see more of what Logan does in the future, maybe with a bigger budget, because it reminded me of a situation like Escape to New York or They Live with John Carpenter, where the films are great for what they are, but you have a sense that if they had more to work with, more budget, something, they could have been greater, and they could have been fully realized. This film doesn't feel fully realized, and I don't know if there's shortcomings in budget or just narrative shortcomings of this idea but not having an actual plot to go with it. But in the end, I feel like Exodus, for maybe a cinephile who's interested in seeing some interesting filmatic things and cinematic things, might get a little bit out of this for low risk of an hour and 15 minutes of your time. But I don't think this is really something for people who are just out there to watch a movie, because I don't think you're going to get a whole lot out of this experience. But those are my thoughts on Exodus. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.